everybody, it's Mindy. I am back again to show you another little dessert we're going to do here today. Just going to move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so I wasn't really planning to do this right now. I have my workout clothes on, haven't worked out yet. I figure I can do that later. And I am going to make a chocolate sandwich cookie today. And I'm kind of winging it, but then when haven't I been so far on these videos? I was actually going to plan to do this tomorrow, and then the way the day is lining up tomorrow, that is not going to work. And so I thought, oh, I'll just do this a little bit later this afternoon. And then my husband's going to be on a work call, and there's just noise going on in the house, and I have a few minutes now. So here goes. So yeah, that is disclaimer number one. Disclaimer number two is that we are going to be using this mixer and have a small hand mixer set up in the back. And there's going to be 2 or 3 minutes at a time of the mixers going. So I'm going to not talk during that time just because I don't know how the sound quality will be. But anyway, so we're going to make, like I said, a chocolate sandwich cookie. The actual name of these is called Whoopie pies. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. I think that name is more common in certain parts of the country. I found this recipe a long time ago in the old Sunday newspapers. I don't think anybody gets newspapers anymore, or not too often anyway. And so this was one of the pages I pulled from, I think, the Parade magazine, maybe. Can't remember. Anyway, I've saved it. My kids love this. It's kind of a cakey, spongy cookie, and then it has the frosting in between. So it's kind of yummy. So I call them chocolate sandwich cookies because I think Whoopie pie is kind of a dumb name. Sorry if you're the person that named them Whoopie pies and you're watching. But anyway, I think chocolate sandwich cookie just describes it a little better. So I'm going to start off. I have the recipe in front of me. I'm going to share it and the ingredients step by step. So you can always go back and pause where you need to write the ingredients down. And the print is really tiny, so hold on. I thought I had a pair of reading glasses down here, just to complete the look of the ball cap and the jacket and the workout clothes. I don't, so I'm gonna probably go squinty-eyed to try to read at some points here, but we'll get through it. Okay, so the first thing I have done in my KitchenAid stand mixer is put a half stick of butter, which is 4 tablespoons of butter. So 4 tablespoons is a half stick of butter. Then I have put in a 1/4 cup of shortening. I use Crisco, just like Grandma used to use. I think the logo hasn't even changed, which is so oddly, wonderfully comforting. I think it's always been like a little cherry pie motif there. So I have taken those 2 things and then a cup, just double checking my printing here, a cup of dark brown sugar packed. So those 3 ingredients go in here, and I'm going to blend them, and then I'm going to mix this for about a couple, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 minutes, and just get that really blended up. So I'm going to start on this. You won't hear from me for a second. Okay, it's probably a little less time than I said it would be, but because I mixed this on high, it kind of creamed it up and got it mixed up really well pretty quickly. So I'm gonna leave that there. Then this is 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I just put it into the pretty little glass bowl because I have pretty little glass bowls, and that's how the cooking shows do it. So I'm gonna add that next. Just dump it all in there. I'm gonna mix that in really well. Okay, stopping that just for a second to scrape the sides. The sides always kind of tend to not get mixed in as well unless you help it along. Egg and vanilla mixed in. Then we are going to add milk and a flour, cocoa, baking soda, baking powder mixture that I've already put together, so I'll go over those measurements with you here. Okay, another pretty glass bowl. And in this bowl is this is where the printing gets really small, 1 2/3 cup of flour, which is kind of an odd measurement, but these taste really good, so I'm gonna go with what they say. 2/3 cup of baking cocoa, but I just use the Hershey's. I just have the regular one here. Hershey's also makes what they call a special dark cocoa powder. I have purchased it before. The box is really pretty. It makes your baked goods taste great, but I'm here to tell you it is super rich and super dark. It's so dark that when you open it up, it almost looks gray-black. I mean, it's rich. So I tend to always just stick with the regular cocoa powder. I've had to use it before if they've been out of this and I'm in a pinch and I need the cocoa powder, I will buy the special dark. And like I said, it's really good. It's really rich. It will certainly not detract from anything chocolate you're making. I just find it to be very, very chocolate. And this is already pretty chocolatey because it's pure cocoa. So note to self, however, whatever you can find at the grocery store next time, don't panic if that's all you can find. You're just gonna have an extra chocolatey cookie, in which case I would just put an extra dollop of frosting. That's how I solve these things. So that's what I'm using in this recipe though. Then you are also going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, which AKA is also 1/2 tablespoon. I have a 1/2 tablespoon measure, so I just put that in there. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So once again, 1 cup and 2/3 of flour, 2/3 cup of the baking cocoa, a 1/2 tablespoon of baking soda, also equal to 1.5 teaspoons, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I put that in a bowl. I just stirred it together to give it a good mix. And then I also have 1 1/4 cup of milk. So we're gonna alternate these. Whenever I have to alternate dry and wet ingredients, I like to start with dry and end with dry. I just find that the batter, it just feels a little more consistent when I'm mixing. I don't know how else to describe that, but I've tried it lots of different ways and that for me works the best. So I'm gonna do the dry mix in three mixes, and I'm gonna use this up in 2. So I'm gonna start this up. We are going to just do this on low, so nothing pops up in your face. So about 1/3 of that. can feel the cocoa powder kicking up. It's better than pepper. Okay, I've got that incorporated, if you can see that. So I'm going to put in half of this now, roughly half. Don't kill yourself over the measurements. Ooh, almost lost it, and I had milk everywhere. Okay, now this is going to get a little more splashy, so you just want to make sure it's really on low. Okay, add the second third. It's actually probably a little bit more, but okay. Okay, last milk entry. So I'm going to put this on super low. Everybody stand back. I do have a shield for this, by the way. I don't know if you can hear me or not above this. But when I am mixing things frequently, it's actually more of a pain to take it off and on, so I just don't. Try to be careful. But they do make those, if that's something you're interested in. All right, last bit of this. Gonna mix that up and make sure I've got everything, which we do. Okay. Scrape the sides once more. You're probably, I don't know if you can see, I've got my baking sheets ready to go. And I have a small kitchen, so they are currently resting on the top of my sinks, which just gotta do what you gotta do, right? So they are, I went ahead and I put parchment paper on 2 cookie sheets just so that would be ready to go. I'm gonna give this one more final little stir up. When you have your cookie sheets covering your sink and you have to wash your hands, you have to be really, really careful. So anyway, all right. Now, and I always move my trash can before I do these so the trash can doesn't show up because I'm classy that way. All right, it is going to be a little tough to see, but this batter will not be as thick as a regular cookie batter. I'll explain that in a second. I'm going to put this out of the way so I have a little bit more room to work. Okay, so it's actually like chocolate pudding. That's exactly, if I didn't know better, I would look at this and say, oh, somebody made chocolate pudding for dessert, and it smells like it too. So, but it is not. It'll bake up really nicely. Okay, so move this. Now I'm just going to bake up 1 sheet. This takes about 10 minutes, so I guess we're going to have some chat time while I do that. I didn't bake anything ahead. I did everything from start to finish here on this video, which I don't normally do, but there wasn't another good way to do it. Okay, so this says tablespoons. I kind of just guess at that. This is obvious. This is a bigger than a tablespoon spoon, but I'm gonna do about a tablespoon. They do spread out. So I think I'm just gonna put 8 on this sheet, which will make 4 sandwich cookies when we're done here. I'm just gonna kind of space it out weird, but I'm not making these for anybody in particular. We're just gonna eat these ourselves, so it's okay if they're not all perfect. As a matter of fact, I had been planning to make these for a video, and also my son completed 8th grade, and of course they're not having a ceremony or anything. They were going to, and then COVID-19 and all that, and schools closing, all those things kind of changed. And so we're gonna do his favorite takeout dinner tonight. And originally I was going to serve these because that's kind of what he had liked too. Look, I'm hunched over. And then the place that we're ordering from has this really phenomenal chocolate cake, and they sell it, well, you can get a whole cake, but they sell it by the slice. And so he's like, is it okay if I do the chocolate cake? And I'm like, sure. I'm like, sure, Knight, you do whatever you want. But I still want to do a video, and I still want to have these for later in the week, because once you eat through a slice of chocolate cake, it's all gone. There's no leftovers to put into a container. Oh, these there are. So I went ahead and I said I'm just gonna go ahead and make these. I forget where I was going with that point, but I'm gonna go ahead and stick these in the oven and let them bake for about 10 minutes. And while these are baking, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to mix up the filling, and we'll go from there. Hold, please. Normally I'd set a timer, but I looked at the microwave clock and I'm good. So I'm gonna put the rest of this over here. I'll bake those later. Okay, back to my prompts. So the reason I am using a hand mixer is that I do have 2 bowls for the KitchenAid, but you know, I only have one blade for it, and I don't feel like stopping to clean it. So I put my frosting ingredients in yet another glass bowl, and I'm gonna hand mix this. It should go pretty quickly. So what I have in here is 1 can of the 7-ounce marshmallow cream. Okay, hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. There's also 1 full cup of Crisco in there. I know you can't think about it. If you think about it, you'll talk yourself out of making this. One day I'm gonna research this, because I remember, well, and I have several recipes from my grandma, and they're old, you know, recipes that she would bake with when she was a young mom and wife, and a lot of them have Crisco in them. And several of the recipes I have modified a little bit to use butter, because I love, real butter to me is just, that's where baking is as far as a start. But I have to say, there's some things that you just can't replicate replacing the butter. I don't know what it is. So I want to go and research sometime why Crisco was such a thing, or vegetable shortening, I guess they called it. Why that was such a thing, like way back. I don't know if people thought that was healthier than butter then. I know butter has kind of been through its good guy, bad guy phase, but I don't know. So I'm gonna look that up sometime and figure out why that is. But getting back to this recipe, you really do need to use the Crisco to get that, because it's tasting like a sandwich cookie. So it tastes like kind of like you could buy a Swiss cake roll or a Hostess cupcake at the store, and you know how it has that really good filling that you just know is full of bad stuff, but this tastes just like it. And why mess that up? And if you're gonna have it, you're gonna have it, right? You're gonna work out later when this video is done, because you're in your workout clothes, your hat. Yeah, just go with it. Just go with Crisco. I think I've probably over-explained it. Use the Crisco, and then just use the Crisco. Don't think. There you have it. Okay, so since I got way off track, it is 1 jar of marshmallow fluff, 1 cup of Crisco that you don't think about. Then we're gonna add that in a minute, but I'm gonna mix this up a little bit together first. Had that plugged in there for that other side for some reason. Okay. Quick mixing moment. This mixer's really old too. Come on, Bessie, you can do it. All right, to this we're gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla, 2 cups of powdered sugar, but I'm gonna start with about half of that, because again, this might kind of puff up because I'm using like a I don't even know what this is, 1972? It's probably not that old. But anyway, give me 1 second. Okay, you guys probably can't see this, but I have a total cloud of powdered sugar to go with the cocoa powder from earlier. Okay, this is again kind of a thickness consistency preference thing. I'm going to use a little milk to thin this, and then I'll add the rest of the powdered sugar. Everywhere. That's what the dog's for. All right, I'm going to add the rest of the powdered sugar. Just kind of went everywhere. A little bit more. I think I measured out 2 tablespoons of milk. Originally, I didn't end up using quite all of it, but mess, but this frosting is kind of pretty. It's nice and fluffy. It looks nice and fluffy. It's kind of sturdy, probably from the Crisco. So what I will do, and this will just be for show because when these guys come out of the oven, they're supposed to cool completely before you put the frosting on. And I'm gonna sandwich one together real quick just to show you what I do, and it'll probably melt into the cookie, and that's fine. We'll still eat it. And so I'm just looking at my clock here. Those have been in 7 minutes. The recipe says 10 minutes at 375. I usually set my oven a little higher. I think I mentioned that before, but I left it at 375 because it's been, well, 2 things. It's been a while since I've made these, and I can't remember what I used before. And then also, this is a real soft cookie. You don't want to over bake it, and you also don't want it to be so underbaked that even when they're cool, when you go to remove them from the cookie sheet, that they disintegrate, because they have to hold the weight of the frosting, and then plus you're gently sandwiching another cookie on top. But I think probably between 10 and 11 minutes is going to be just about right on these guys. I'm going to get out my cork things here. So I'll set that there, and then I am just going to use a spoon and dollop the frosting on, and then sandwich it together for the cookie that I'm going to show you. I will probably go back when everything's baked and cooled, and put my frosting into a piping bag and just do the little swirl. Maybe you put some sprinkles on there because I like sprinkles, and then put the sandwich on. It's really pretty if you can pipe it, because you'll have like this piped look, and then you can even gently roll it through sprinkles and then put the sandwich top on it, and it's a nice sized cookie dessert kind of a thing. But you don't have to get fancy. Again, you can just do a little dollop, smush the cookie together. This says, I usually leave these in the fridge. You don't have to. Everything's baked, and the frosting, frankly, doesn't have anything all natural in it, so you don't have to worry about that. But I actually like them best cold. They're really good straight from the fridge. And they're slightly less messy from the fridge. So once again, after I finish this video, I will finish baking my cookies. I'll let them cool. I will add the frosting, sandwich them together, and then pop them in the fridge. As with, can I even talk today? As with most things, I don't know if you can hear this, my guinea pigs are in the other room and they're clinking on the bowl because they know I'm here and they want to be fed, so they're distracting me. As with most things, you may also freeze these. So once they're cooled, you maybe put them in between wax paper and then put them into a plastic type of a bin. You can always freeze these too. So I don't know, I try to make things that you can freeze because that way if you don't need them or you need them for later, it's something you can do ahead. All right, I'm gonna check on these real quick. Okay, that was right at 10 minutes. And these are going to kind of feel springy to the touch. They're like a puffy, soft cookie. So they turned out really good. They're not perfectly shaped, but that just adds to the whatever, the nostalgia, well, I'm using a spoon for these. I need a spatula. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna take a spatula. Just gotta flop that over. I should use a spoon for this. Okay. A good couple tablespoons of the frosting. I'm gonna put that on there. Like I said, it's gonna melt super quick. So this isn't like even a showpiece, but I might just, yeah, see how well that went? Okay. And then you just kind of gently press it down, and then you have a nice little sandwich cookie. I'm gonna pop that guy in the freezer just so there's a little bit of a chance of something there. So to sum up, 375 for 10 minutes, let them completely cool. Then you can either spread the frosting on or use a piping bag to get that done. I think I got everything. I know we went over all the ingredients together, told you how to kind of assemble those. I know what I forgot. They claim to make 24 sandwich cookies. I think that's a little optimistic unless you're making them a lot smaller than this. Which you can. I mean, you can make them minis, you know, you can do smaller than that, but that's about the size I generally make, which is like a good heaping tablespoon. So if you have to have a specific number of these for an event or something, you'll probably want to go a little less each cookie, but I don't have any events, I don't have any parties, nothing. So we'll just make these and enjoy them. But anyway, so I hope that is something that you can enjoy, and I don't know if you've ever made that type of cookie before, but sandwich cookies are always kind of fun. It's just a little something different and just a little different than a typical normal bar or brownie or cookie. So anyway, I'm gonna finish baking these and finish my day, maybe go work out. I don't know, we'll see. I guess the workout clothes are half the battle, right? So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.